I started winter term last couple days, and I'm really excited about this term's classes. Um, it started off a little bit um, intense because on Monday I had Math 105, and I got there kind of early, like an hour early, and the classroom was full of people, and so I thought, I guess I thought there was a class before it, but it turns out that there's this like optional period where you can go an hour before class and do math stuff with the instructor. And I thought it was optional. I mean, the email they sent out said it was optional and you had to actually pay for it. Um, but like 90% of the class was doing it, so it was kind of odd. So in essence, I was late, even though I was there on time, and it just felt weird. And the content was very simplistic. I believe the first like project, the group project they wanted us to work on was figuring out like percentages of things. And it's fine if people need help with that kind of stuff. Lots of people do. But I could quickly tell that I was going to be extremely bored in that class. Um, and so luckily I got there like 5 minutes, before 11 in the morning. It started at 11. And at 11, they said, all right, since this class is so long, 3 hours, including the optional part, we're going to have two 20-minute breaks, which to me is like ridiculous. Like, you don't need more than 10 minutes for a break. Um, 20 minutes is like lunch. That's like a long break. People disengage from the content in 20 minutes and then have to come back to it. Um, So luckily, I got out at 11, and then I immediately went over to the library. I dropped that class. I've never dropped a class faster. I just felt like really uncomfortable. Because either I was just going to have to be really frustrated all term with how simple and boring the content was, or or try to get something out of it. And yeah, I wasn't, that didn't, I don't think I was, it wasn't going to work out. So anyway, I tried to register for math. That was math 105. I tried to register for math 111, which is pre-calc, pre-calculus, functions, and I've taken it before, like a long time ago, but I withdrew from it because I was going to fail. And I thought that was like a logical step if I actually did want to study math, keep studying math, which I do. But it didn't work out because all the 111 classes were full. And so I thought to myself, okay, enough of what like the school wants me to study. What do I want to study? What would make me the most happy and something that would integrate well with my future business plans and all that? And I thought of photography, for various reasons. Mainly, it'd be really interesting to start a talent agency, where don't necessarily want to be an actor or a model per se, but I have a pretty good eye for talent, so it'd be really interesting to spot people with talent or with the X factor, and then you basically represent them and you do most of the job finding work for them, and then you get paid like 10% of their whatever it is they earn. I think it's 10%, right? um, so that sounds like an interesting business. And photography is a key part of it, mainly for the 8x10 portraits that you want as part of your portfolio, your resume. And uh, I was considering outsourcing that to a photographer I met recently. I might have mentioned it in the video. Um, but I like integrating myself vertically as well as horizontally. And so I'd rather just do everything myself and learn everything, all the aspects of it. Just because it's kind of fun, to see the project through from beginning to end. Um, yeah, mean, I should delegate in some cases, and I hopefully will. And um, so photography is excellent. And the best thing about that switch was that I was going to be technically like 20-25 minutes late, because that's how long it took me to switch classes and find something that worked uh, in the registry. Um, but I oh, and the class was it didn't let me register for the photography class. It said I couldn't register after the first day of the term. We were just like 20 minutes in, but I guess it counted that. And so I was like, well, there's one spot open, no wait list. So I decided to just go over to that classroom. Luckily, it showed what classroom it was. Um, and I get there, and the instructor has not arrived. The instructor on the first day of class is half an hour late. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I won't have missed any content, and the teacher can't be mad at me for being late. Um, and so I waited another 10-15 minutes with the other students, and then the professor arrived, and apparently, she'd had car trouble. Took a while for AAA to do something, and managed to get registered for the class. So that was cool, and I'm looking forward to that class a lot. We're gonna learn Photoshop, um, what all the settings on the cameras mean, how to like develop all the pictures. I mean, how to print and crop and present the pictures in a physical format, so it looks really professional, and so it and a few other things. But we're gonna learn a lot of skills that will help me in a lot of different projects. I'm really excited about this, and hopefully it'll get me a little bit out of my comfort zone, because I like the idea of taking pictures of strangers. It just like it doesn't flow well for me to ask a stranger to take their picture. But maybe this class will be a nice excuse to kind of, get over that. And that was my class on Monday, Wednesday. Had it on Monday. Today's Tuesday. And today I had macroeconomics with the same professor as last term. So that should be pretty enjoyable throughout. He has good energy, holds attention well. And so, I think macroeconomics is more interesting than microeconomics. I'm pretty sure, because it deals with concepts that I think are much more meaningful on the world scale. Of course, because that's literally the definition. It's like a larger system that you're analyzing instead of a very small or subset. And anything else about that class that was particularly interesting? No, not right now. I mean, it's macroeconomics. What's there to say about that? It's mainly just. I guess we're gonna study John Maynard Keynes. Apparently, it's pronounced. So I guess that'll help explain why some things are the way they are. 10 minutes after that class, I had my marine biology class, and we started out on a lab day. So that was kind of cool. On Tuesdays we'll have lab days, Thursdays lecture days in a different classroom. And since we were in the lab classroom on the first day, we decided to just get started with the lab, which is a lot more fun than sitting through another day of hearing what the syllabus is about. Something that should take like 20 minutes apparently takes 2 hours for almost every class. It blows my mind. And we worked a lot with salinity. The lab was about water salinity, so like measuring basically the amount of salt in a water sample, or 4 different water samples 4 different ways. The first one we did was we measured the density of the water and then compared it, because salt water is more dense than fresh water. The second method was we evaporated the water with heat leaving behind the salt, and then measured how much salt we had. The third method was a spectrograph or something. Or a it's something that measures the visual refraction of light through a small sample of the water. And salt water apparently refracts light much more intensely than fresh water. So there's like a little gauge on the inside that'll shift according to how salty the water is. And the final one was we used like a digital electronic probe that measured the salinity of the water by measuring the electrical conductivity of the water. And that was the most accurate method, I think. Mainly because my classmates were not particularly well versed in proper like measuring protocol. Like we let a classmate take the lead, which is good. He enjoyed it, but he would like fill these graduated cylinders and like look at the water level from up here, rather than like crouching down and reading the bottom of the meniscus. I was unable to say the word meniscus in class today, but I'm looking forward to hopefully saying in the future because it's my favorite chemistry word. So we could have been a lot more careful with our measuring, but since it's the first day, who gives a crap? If it was like a more serious project where where there's maybe more competition to get a more accurate score, then it'd be more interesting to be a little bit more careful with the measuring. So those are my classes. I have to remember to do something for my Excel class before tomorrow evening. That's my only online class, and hopefully the only online class I'll ever take, because I just keep forgetting about it because it just like doesn't exist in real life. It's just on the internet, and it's like a required class for business, so I don't think I can slip out of it too easily. So I guess I'll learn how to do Excel sometime during the week. Looking forward to an interesting term. I have a nice balance of science, like philosophical analysis, because that's what economics is basically. I realize economics is like the philosophy of money. So, or maybe the philosophy of trade, something like that. And then I have kind of like an artistic outlet through the photography, and a very analytical outlet through the Excel database learning. So I guess I'll make another update if something significant happens at school.